AITA for not chasing after my wife when she texted me, "I'm leaving you for good." I, a 36-year-old man, received that message at 2:14 p.m. on a Wednesday, right in the middle of a quarterly budget review with my entire department watching me present spreadsheets. My phone buzzed on the table. I glanced down. My wife had sent it. "I'm leaving again. This time it's for good. Don't call me. I'll get my things when I'm ready." I stared at the screen for maybe 3 seconds. As a colleague asked about projected expenses, I then typed a single word: "Okay." I placed my phone face down and continued the presentation. Here's what you need to understand. That wasn't the first time or the fifth. In 7 years of marriage, my wife had already left for good at least a dozen times. The pattern was always the same. We would argue, usually over something trivial, like me being late from work or not showing enough enthusiasm for her mother's suggestions for our life. She would escalate it into a full-blown meltdown. Then came a dramatic announcement of her departure, the overnight bag packed, the door slamming, and then silence. She would go to her sister's or her mother's house and wait. She'd wait for me to call, to text, to show up with flowers, apologies, and promises that I would do better. And every single time, I did exactly that, because I loved her, because I believed marriage meant fighting for it, because her family convinced me that I wasn't trying hard enough. Not this time. Something in me snapped during that meeting. Maybe it was the cruelty of the timing. She knew I had that presentation. Maybe it was the word again in the text itself, an admission that this was a pattern she weaponized. Or maybe I was just tired of being held as an emotional hostage. The meeting ended at 3:30 p.m. I told my boss I had a family emergency and needed to leave early. He didn't ask any questions. I drove home. The apartment was empty, as expected. She had taken the travel suitcase, the good one, which I bought for our anniversary trip that never happened because she wasn't in the mood that weekend. I stood in the living room and made a decision. If this was for good, I would make it for good. I called a locksmith. "Emergency service, residential apartment. Can you be here in 2 hours?" He could. The $275 for the urgent service was worth every penny. Then I started packing. Not my things, hers. I was methodical. I started with the closet, folding the clothes from her side neatly and placing them in the remaining suitcases. The shoes went into labeled trash bags. The jewelry went into a small box. Nothing was valuable enough to worry about, mostly costume jewelry and gifts from her family. Then the bathroom, makeup, skincare products, hair stuff, all into boxes. Her towels, her robe. From the bedroom, I took the books, the phone chargers, she had about 4, the laptop, the collection of decorative pillows I was never actually allowed to use. In the kitchen, the special coffee maker I couldn't touch, the strange health food containers, her specific brand of oat milk. I was surprisingly calm, moving with purpose. Every item I placed in a box felt like removing a splinter from deep inside me. The locksmith arrived at 5:45 p.m. A cool guy. He didn't ask questions. New lock, new deadbolt, new keys. He left the receipt on top of the pile of boxes near the door. By 6:30 p.m., everything she owned was packed, labeled, and organized in the entryway. 14 boxes, 3 suitcases, for trash bags with shoes and miscellaneous items, and the rolled-up yoga mat leaning against the wall. Then I ordered Thai food and sat on the couch that I picked out, but which she had complained about for 2 years. And I watched a movie I had wanted to see for months, but never could because she thought action movies were childish. My phone had no notifications from her. That was intentional. She was waiting for me to break first, to flood her phone with apologies. At 8:47 p.m., I heard a key turning in the lock, scraping in confusion, then knocking on the door. "Honey, the door won't open. The lock must be broken." I went over and opened it. She was standing there with her overnight bag, looking annoyed but also expectant, as if waiting for the tearful reconciliation. Her expression changed when she saw the wall of boxes behind me. What is this?" "Your things," I said. "You said it was for good. I helped make it for good." She walked past me, looking at the labels. Casual clothes, bathroom skincare, books, and miscellaneous. "You can't be serious. You texted me during my presentation, the one I spent 3 weeks preparing for. You said it was for good. You said not to call." "I didn't call. I packed. I was upset. We argued this morning about your mother. My mother sent you a birthday card with a $50 check, and you called her cheap. We've been married 7 years. and you said I needed to fix my mother. And when I said my mother's gift was fine and I wasn't going to start a fight over $50, you decided our marriage was over. She opened one of the boxes, saw her sweaters, and real panic appeared on her face. I didn't mean it like that. You know I get emotional. You're always supposed to come get me. That's how this works. No, that's how it used to work. So this is it. You're just giving up. After 7 years, I felt tired just looking at her. You've threatened to leave more times than I can count. Every time I don't act exactly how you want, you run. I'm tired. I'm done begging. You changed the locks? Are you crazy? This is my apartment, too. The lease has been in my name only from the beginning because your credit was too low when we moved in. Yes, I had checked that before calling the locksmith. She fell silent. So you planned this? No. I finally responded to your text. Her face went through several emotions. Shock, anger, then the tears starting to well up. The tears usually worked. I have nowhere to go. You said you were leaving. That implies you had somewhere in mind. I was going to my sister's, but I was going to come back. I always come back. And I always took you back. Not this time. She grabbed my arm. Please, I'm sorry. I was angry. You know how I get. That's the problem. We can do therapy. I'll change. You've said that before. After the incident at my company's holiday party, after you threw my phone during the argument about vacation, after you screamed at my best friend's wife just because she suggested separate checks at dinner. I gently removed my arm. This cycle is exhausting, and I'm done. So that's it. You're throwing our marriage away over one text message. You've sent hundreds of messages like it in 7 years. This is just the first time I believed you. She stood there, now genuinely crying, looking at the boxes, her entire life with me reduced to labeled containers. I have nowhere to go. Call your sister or your mother. You have options. Just not here. She picked up 2 suitcases, struggling with the weight, and left without another word. She didn't take the boxes. I figured she'd be back for them. That night, I slept better than I had in months. Update 1, 4 days later. The initial confrontation was just the appetizer. The entitlement buffet came next. On the second day, her sister showed up. I was leaving for work when I found her banging on my door at 7:30 in the morning. What did you do to her? Good morning to you, too. She's been crying for 2 days. She can't eat. You just threw her out like trash. She texted me that the marriage was over. I took her at her word. The sister's face was pure contempt. She was venting. Everybody vents. You don't end a marriage because someone says mean things when they're upset. How many times exactly has she done it? Left, waited for me to apologize, then come back like nothing happened. That's how she processes things. You know she had a difficult childhood. And I spent 7 years walking on eggshells because of it. I'm done. You're a coward. A real man would fight for his marriage. A real man stops when he realizes he's the only one fighting. She stormed off. 20 minutes later, my phone started blowing up. Texts from numbers I didn't recognize. Her family, apparently. The messages range from "How could you?" to "You'll regret this." And one creative one that just said "Small dick energy." I blocked them all. At work, I got a call from reception. "There's someone here to see you." I went down to find her mother in the lobby, clutching tissues with an expression that suggested I had murdered her eldest daughter. She told me everything. How you put her things in trash bags. Labeled bags for the shoes. The rest was in boxes. I corrected. How you changed the locks without any warning. She said the marriage was over. The locks are for my security. She's my baby. She's fragile. You know she needs special care. With all due respect, she's 34 years old and uses that fragility to control everyone around her, including me, for 7 years. Her mother's eyes turned cold. You're going to regret this. She's going to take you for everything in the divorce. Noted. Please leave. Security escorted her out when she refused to go. The HR department got involved. I had to explain the basics of the situation. They were understanding and asked me to document any further visits to the workplace. That night, I came home to 3 voicemails from an unknown number. Her cousin, apparently, calling me a manipulative narcissist who finally showed his true colors. The narrative they were building was clear. I was the villain, the cold man who discarded his sensitive, emotional wife because she dared to express her feelings. They conveniently ignored the dozen-plus times she had left for good. The constant threats, the meltdowns whenever I failed to meet the demands of the week. The third day brought a new chapter. I got an email from a lawyer. Not her lawyer. She apparently didn't have money for one, but a family friend who claimed to be concerned about the treatment of a vulnerable woman. The email demanded I immediately return all of her property, including items I was illegally withholding, and warned that any attempt to dispose of her things would result in criminal charges. A friend of mine from college is a divorce attorney. I forwarded him the email. His response was quick. "This is hilarious. They have no case. She's not on the lease. You packed everything carefully and discarded nothing. They're just trying to bully you." He helped me draft a response. Polite, professional, stating that all of her belongings were available for pickup at a coordinated date and time, that nothing had been disposed of, and that any future contact should go through proper legal channels. On the fourth day, she showed up, and she wasn't alone. She brought her mother, her sister, and a guy I didn't know. Tall, muscular, clearly there for intimidation. I opened the door, but kept the chain on. "Who's the guy?" "My cousin. He's here to make sure you don't try anything." "Try what?" "I'm 5 feet 10 inches and work in accounting." The cousin stepped forward. "Just give her the stuff, bro. No need to make this complicated. Her stuff is right there." I pointed to the boxes still piled in the entryway. "I'm going to open the door. You can take everything, but nobody comes past the entryway. This is her home. It's my apartment. Her name isn't on anything. Not the lease, not the bills, not the security deposit. Want a check? I have the paperwork." Her mother started crying. "She gave you 7 years. She gave me 7 years of threats, manipulation, and walking out every time I didn't perfectly obey. It's over." They spent 45 minutes loading boxes into 2 cars. The cousin dropped one box on purpose. I heard glass shatter, probably her skincare products. When they were done, her mother turned to me. "You're going to be alone forever. No one will ever love you like she did." That's kind of the point. The door closed. I put the chain on for security. That night my phone buzzed. "Unknown number. I know you think you're being strong, but you're just being cruel. I gave you everything. You owe me." I didn't reply. I blocked it. This was far from over, but for the first time in 7 years, I felt like I was in control. Update 2. 2 weeks later. I thought the pickup of the boxes would be the end of it. I was wrong. First, the building. Apparently, her mother called the management company, claiming I had illegally evicted my wife. The building manager called me, confused. "Your wife isn't on the lease." She never was. Her name isn't on anything. He checked, confirmed, and apologized for the misunderstanding. After that, she finally filed for divorce, making for good official. And that's when the games truly began. The initial filing was ambitious. She claimed emotional and psychological abuse throughout the marriage, financial abuse. Apparently, my paying 70% of the bills while she contributed emotionally was abuse. Entitlement to 50% of my retirement plan, 401k, and pension because she had sacrificed her career for the marriage, and half the value of the furniture I bought before we were married. My lawyer just sighed when he read it. Standard plays. They throw everything at the wall to see what sticks. Most of this won't fly, but it will cost time and money to fight it. Her so-called sacrifice career was leaving a part-time retail job 3 years into the marriage because she found it unfulfilling. Since then, she'd worked sporadically, mostly as a freelance social media manager, earning around $6,000 a year. I, meanwhile, had been promoted twice and now made a good salary, money she apparently believed was hers by right. The discovery phase got ugly. Her lawyer requested all my financial records, which was standard, but then also requested records of every gift I had ever given her during the marriage to prove the standard of living she was accustomed to and proof of my controlling behavior. They literally just asked for that with no specifics. They also requested documentation that I had refused couples therapy. That was a good one. I had suggested therapy multiple times. She refused because she didn't want a stranger judging our relationship. I handed over only what was legally required, nothing more. 2 weeks after the filing, I got a call from my brother. He sounded uncomfortable. "So, your wife called me." "She did what?" "She asked if I would testify that you were emotionally distant at family gatherings. Said something about building a pattern of behavior." I was shocked. "What did you tell her?" "I told her to lose my number. But just letting you know, she's calling everyone you know trying to build a case against you. She even called a work colleague of mine. The the same one whose wife she had yelled at during that dinner over separate checks. She asked if they had noticed any concerning behavior from me over the years. They declined to get involved. The desperation was showing. Her next move was creative. She contacted my company's HR department directly, requesting records of any formal complaints made against me at work. HR informed her they couldn't share employee information with an outside party. She replied, saying she was gathering evidence of my pattern of misconduct. The HR rep notified me immediately. I documented everything. My lawyer attached it to the proceedings. Then came mediation. The state required this step before the divorce could move forward. We sat in a conference room. Me, her, our lawyers, and a neutral mediator. She wouldn't even look at me. The mediator began with standard questions: living situation, overview of assets, points of contention. Her lawyer spoke first. My client sacrificed her career advancement to support this marriage. She deserves long-term alimony reflecting the standard of living established during the union. My lawyer countered. Your client worked part-time by her own choice, was never the primary breadwinner, and used threats of divorce as a negotiation tool. We have text records. She finally looked up. You're using my emotions against me? The mediator intervened. Let's stay focused. What specific assets are in dispute? This went on for 3 hours. Every piece of furniture was argued over. Every appliance. Even the coffee maker she gave me for Christmas, bought with money I had given her for shopping. At the end, the mediator made his recommendations. No long-term alimony, as her lack of employment was her choice. My pre-marriage 401k was protected. She would be entitled to a portion of the contributions made during the marriage, about 15%. The furniture would be appraised and divided. Most of it was mine from before the marriage, with receipts to prove it. She left the mediation in tears. Her mother was waiting in the lobby and started screaming at me that I had destroyed her daughter's future. Security asked them to leave. That night, I got another text from an unknown number. You won. Are you happy now? I have nothing. You took everything from me. I didn't reply, but I also didn't block it. I screenshotted it and sent it to my lawyer. Proof of continued contact. He filed a formal motion for a communication order. All contact was to go through lawyers only. The final divorce decree came a month later. She got less than she demanded, more than I wanted to give. About $8,000 from my 401k, 3 months of transitional alimony at $600 per month, and some of the furniture. But she also got something else, the reality that this time, for good, really meant for good. Final update, 3 months later. The divorce was finalized 2 months ago. I thought that would be the end of it. For the most part, it was. She violated the communication order twice. The first was a text at 2 a.m. Remember that anniversary trip we never took? I was going to tell you I was pregnant, but you had to be you and ruin everything. My lawyer confirmed there was no record of any pregnancy during the marriage, either a lie or a manipulation attempt. Both fit her pattern perfectly. The second violation was showing up at a coffee shop she knew I frequented. She sat at the table next to mine, stared at me, and said nothing. Just stared. I closed my laptop and left. Documented. My lawyer sent a warning letter. After that, nothing. Silence. I've heard a few updates through the grapevine. Mutual friends, who weren't sure whose side to take, kept me vaguely informed. Apparently, she's back living with her mother. Her sister got tired of the drama after 2 months. Who knew? She's working part-time at a boutique now, complaining constantly about how she had to start over because of me. Her mother tells anyone who will listen that I financially ruined her daughter, conveniently omitting that I paid for most of our married life while she was finding herself. The cousin who dropped the box on purpose, I heard, bragged about it at a family gathering, saying he should have done a bit more. Her family is far from being paragons of character. Her mother tried one last gambit about a month ago. She sent a real paper letter to my apartment. The envelope was perfumed and had a heart sticker on it. Inside was a handwritten note. She would still be willing to try again. True love means forgiveness. It said I should stop punishing her for normal relationship struggles and consider reconciliation therapy. That she was a transformed woman. I didn't respond. I threw the letter away. As for me, I'm doing well. The apartment feels different. Bigger somehow. Empty in spots where her things used to be, but also cleaner, calmer. No more walking on eggshells. No more anticipating the next explosion over nothing. I deleted the wedding photos from my phone. I took the framed picture out of the living room and put it in a box in the back of the closet. I can't quite throw it away yet. Maybe one day. I started therapy. Not because I'm broken. Well, maybe a little, but mainly because I spent 7 years accepting a kind of treatment no one should. I need to understand why, what made me tolerate it for so long, what made me always go back every time she left. My therapist says I have codependency issues tied to a need to fix people. I'm working on it. My friends have been solid. The ones who knew her well saw her true colors very quickly when the divorce started. The ones who didn't know her believed her version for a while, but eventually came around when they heard the details. There's no new relationship on the horizon. I'm not even looking. I need to figure myself out first. The financial hit hurt, but I'm recovering. The $8,000 from the 401k stung. The $1,800 in transitional alimony stung. The legal fees, almost $6,000, stung a lot. But the peace? That's priceless. No longer waiting for the next blow-up. No longer apologizing for existing the wrong way. No longer being punished for not reading someone's mind. Last week, I ran into her sister at the grocery store. She saw me, looked like she was about to say something, then just turned around and walked away. Probably for the best. The only thing I truly regret is not doing it sooner. All those years fighting for my marriage, when in reality, I was just enabling her to treat me like dirt with no consequences. One text message changed everything. Not hers, mine. A single word. For 7 years I said, please don't go. I'll be better. What can I change? And okay was all it took to break the cycle. She expected begging. She got boxes at the door. And honestly, it was one of the most satisfying things I've ever done. For anyone out there living through something similar, trust yourself. When someone shows you who they are through repeated behavior, believe them. And when they threaten to leave for the 100th time, sometimes the healthiest thing to do is simply hold the door open for them. Anyway, that's my story. Time to close this chapter and find out what's next. P.S. The locksmith receipt I left on top of the boxes? Apparently, she kept it. Her mother mentioned it in the letter, saying it was proof of premeditation. My lawyer laughed. It's a receipt for a lock change, not exactly a smoking gun. Comment. What really strikes me about this experience is how quiet true strength can be. It is not always in the loudest voice or the biggest confrontation. Sometimes, real power is the deliberate decision to choose your own peace over someone else's chaos. Setting a boundary is not an act of cruelty. It is a profound act of self-respect. It is about taking responsibility for the life you want to live. I believe the kindest thing you can ever do is stop allowing yourself to be treated unkindly. The path to healing begins the moment you decide you deserve it. You can build a future where calm becomes the new normal. Remember to be gentle with yourself throughout the process. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.